Steve, you lost a couple and you've got Liverpool and Arsenal to come. Does that mean the browser's off for road this
I
week?
think, Bryn, I think I've said it so many times. I think it's what the Premier League is. If we think it's the first time really we've had a big upset last week. We were expected to go and beat Crystal Palace, no disrespect to them, and we haven't managed to do so. We didn't deserve to lose, but you know, with these two big games coming up now, we've got it all to do again, and that's the beauty of the Premier League. Week in and week out, you know, round the corner is going to be one of the big teams.
I mean, it's easy to say, it sounds daft, but is it easier this weekend in a sense than it was last week?
Well, the expectation is not so big, is it? You know, but whenever you're playing the Liverpools or the Man U's or the Chelseas or the Man Cities live on the box, then it's always a big occasion. And this season in particular, we've done particularly well in the big games. We haven't managed to win one of them, but we've been in the game, and that's what we've got to try and do on Sunday again, is try and enjoy the challenge. And so since I've sat down since the start of the season, it's try and enjoy being with the big boys and taking them on. Why not?
Yeah, this was one of the, you pick out from the fixture list, whatever Liverpool were doing in the league, they're second and they're going really well as it turns out.
Well, I mean, the front two are exceptionally good, and they've always, you know, Steven Gerrard and Jordan Henderson looks as if he's, you know, finding his feet as well. They're a very, very good side, and certainly the two strikers are as good as you're going to face against. And Suarez in particular now has proved year in and year out that he's as good as player as there is in the Premier League. So we'll have to defend well to get anything from it.
There's some good man management there with Suarez, wasn't there?
Well, I think that was his biggest achievement really so far, in turning that situation around, because it must have been difficult at times for them, but I think they were adamant that they were holding on to their best player. And any club, if they've got any aspirations to go and compete at the top level and win Premier Leagues, then you've got to keep hold of your best players, and certainly Suarez is that. You've
got to deal with him on Sunday with a defence that's going to be changed again, which is not ideal, is it?
No, it's not ideal, but you know, it's part and parcel of it. If you know, I've said for weeks now, you need a bit of luck in that department, and we haven't been very lucky in it. You know, in terms of injuries. You know, the loss of Aluko is huge to us. It was huge in the Championship last year. He's the one in our team that can give us that little bit of something else. And we've got one or two defenders struggling with injury. McShane, Curtis Davis has got a knock too. So we've got to make changes in that respect. But whoever we bring in, we'll have to defend well.
If December comes round at this weekend, we're a month away from being able to do a bit more. Is that work already beginning?
Well, I have a meeting this afternoon, and we'll always try and improve. The difficulty in January always is, can you find anybody out there who's going to make you significantly better? And I think that's the key to it. You know, it's not just about going and spending money. You've got to try and improve yourself and hope that you can find somebody that will make a difference. And that's always, a club like ours is always the problem.
I read suggestions this week the chairman's ready to spend big, which is good news, isn't it? Maybe you'll find out this afternoon.
Well, to be fair to him, for the last 3 years he has spent big. If you count the amount of money he's put into it, and he deserves a big pat on the back. And if there is money available, then good. It strengthens your hand. Of course there is. The big problem I've got is, as I said, identifying one or two that can make a big difference to us. But certainly if you can add to your squad with a bit of quality, then certainly that'll give us a hand.
It's been pretty smooth sailing so far this season, maybe up to last weekend.
Yeah.
And yet, if you're not careful by next Thursday, the waters are going to start looking a bit choppy, aren't they? Because you could be a bit close.
Well, we expected that. The good thing for us is that we're a point away from being 10th. If we had took a point last week, we'd have been 10th sitting in the table, which seems a bit more healthier. It's concertinaed right from 18th up to the top edge of the division. There's 4 or 5 points between us all. That's how difficult it is. We're delighted to be in it. We're delighted to be in that pack. We've had a disappointing time last week. Let's make sure now, Liverpool and Arsenal, let's meet the challenge head on. Can we get something from it? If we can't, then we move on to the next one.
I'll ask you about Ryan Giggs, Steve. 40 today.
Wow.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, I seen him last week, and well, there'll never be, in my opinion, there'll never be somebody who's going to play at that level from the age of 17 to 40. It's quite unbelievable. And even when you see him last week on holiday, that he was he was still as fit as a flea and still got that hunger and desire to go and be a player, and just enjoys playing football so much. It's quite remarkable of what he's achieved, and he's the only one I've ever known. We've all seen young footballers when they're 14, 15. We've all seen, well, he's a hell of a player, and he's definitely going to be a player. Ryan Giggs is the only certainty I've ever seen. He was a certainty that he's going to be a player at 14, 15. He makes his debut at 17, and to still be playing at 40 is quite remarkable.
What's his secret, do you know?
Well, we used to say when he ran around when he was younger, he was effortless. And even now, he never seems to be exerted by it. He's blessed with this natural ability to be able to move and run, and he was a wonderful athlete, a wonderful athlete, and I think that's what he's blessed with. And also, we talk about money in the game too often. That's never ever fazed him. He's still been wanting to be the best player, which usually the best players are. They're driven that they're still, even at 40, still wants to take part and be the best player.
Steve, when we spoke to Tom, he admitted that the midfielders and the rest of the team have to try and chip in with a few goals. Are you encouraging them to do that?
Well, we certainly could do with it, but as I've just been saying to another reporter there, that it's the hardest part of it. It's the hardest part of playing in the Premier League. You look at all the teams at the top and who they've got in midfield and strikers. They're all 25 and 30 million quid's worth, We hope that we can certainly. I've got no doubt that Tom Huddleston will score, otherwise he's never going to go out the door with his hair. And Jake, I've got the ability to score. Rob Corran's got the ability to score. Robbie Brady, as we know. So we all need to chip in with a few goals, and it would be nice if we can get a couple on the board from the midfield area.
You said to Bryn that you were seeing your chairman this afternoon, or you were having chats this afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, or can you confirm?
I might be sacked after last week.
No.
No.
Would it be true that a striker will be on that list?
Well, we've got to look at that situation. Danny Graham could be recalled by Sunderland. We've got to look at that possibility, and of course, with Aluko being missing, that's been it dealt us a big blow. So we're without two of our strikers. So that's an area of the pitch where we need to try and do something if we possibly can.
And just finally for me, Liverpool, they're second at the moment. They've had a cracking start. Are you surprised at how good a start they've had? And are they title?
No, I don't think I'm surprised at it. I think, when you look at the development of the front two in particular, they're as good as anything in the league. And certainly Suarez has proved over the years, and now Daniel Sturridge over the last 12 months. They're a wonderful pair who's given them that cutting edge. They've always had top midfield players, and Gerrard in particular, and they're starting to move in the right direction, which is great for Liverpool, because for too long now they haven't been competing at the top end. Whether they can sustain it, that's always the question that everybody will ask. But certainly when you look at them and the way they play, especially the front players, then they've got as good a chance as anybody.
Steve, just come back to Curtis Davies. You said he's got a knock.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's got a knock on his shin. We expect him to be okay, but he's got a knock on his shin, which was pretty nasty.
And that happened just in training?
No, it happened last weekend.
And obviously, if you're hoping for him to play, but it's critical, really, isn't it? Because he's been the glue in that.
Well, he's played very, very well, and he's done very, very well since he came. And as I said, I think he'll be okay. We were expecting him to train today, but he has got a knock, so we'll see how he is after training today.
Anything else that we don't know about? Or
No.
Brady, is he back to
Robbie Brady's
full
fine.
speed?
Robbie Brady's fine. The only ones really we've got is Quinn and Aluko. And James Chester's trained all week. It might be a little bit too early for him, but he's certainly trained all week, and I would expect him to be certainly in the squad for the weekend. Maybe a bit too early just to play though.
And just a quick one on the sort of news story that's happened this week about the match fixing, albeit at a lower level. Is it something that has to be aware at your level, or is it unexpected?
Well, I mean, we'll be naive if we haven't heard about it. We'd be naive to think that we haven't heard about it. The one thing that we all must guard against is that the Premier League, I would hope that it would never have come anywhere near. There's no need, and usually betting scams are about greed, aren't they? And I hope that we can make it disappear. But obviously, by those sounds of it, these syndicates are huge. Let's hope it doesn't come anywhere near the Premier League or the top end, and in full we have to wipe it out totally if we possibly can.